Good morning. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, bearing down with the stock market in bear territory over inflation fears. The Federal Reserve is expected to hike rates today by the largest amount in almost 30 years. But with gas prices at an all-time high and Americans paying top dollar for food and goods, it's a delicate dance. Can they raise rates enough to tamp down inflation but not trigger a recession? We have everything you need to know for your bottom line as we wait for the Fed's decision. Yellowstone shut down. More than 10,000 visitors evacuated after severe floods washed out roads and destroyed bridges. This morning, efforts are underway to get to people trapped by the raging storm waters.
It was frightening because in addition to all of this debris, you can hear the rocks in the creek. These are giant boulders just rolling down. It feels like you're on the Manhattan Bridge listening to the trains go by with you.
What's behind this historic flooding that's keeping an American icon shuttered? Monkeypox on the move. The World Health Organization calling an emergency meeting as the virus spreads worldwide. More than 70 cases now being reported in 17 states here in the U.S. and even more in other countries. That's sparking concerns about a possible global health emergency, the steps being taken to stop the spread, and the reason medical experts still say there is no reason to panic. And back on the court, after more than a year away from the game, tennis great Serena Williams is returning to one of tennis's biggest stages. But the superstar, she's going to have to do it from a position she has never been in before. The major challenge is facing the 7-time Wimbledon champion as she gears up for a run at her 8th title. So many people happy to see Serena back on the court.
Absolutely. And any challenge, please.
Yeah, she's got it.
Williams sister,
Piece of cake. All right, more on that in a little bit. We're going to start this hour with the country on Fed watch, waiting to see how much the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates later today to fight sky-high inflation, now running at 40-year highs.
Wall Street is betting on the biggest rate hike in nearly 30 years, but it comes with economists warning of an increased risk of a recession. NBC News correspondent Tom Costello has more.
Yeah, this is one of the most anticipated Fed rate hike decisions in years, in decades, really. You know, the Fed only has one good tool to fight inflation, and that is to hike interest rates. But the bottom line is there are many reasons for inflation. The pandemic-related stimulus spending, the supply chain crisis, the war in Ukraine. The Fed is hoping that by raising rates, it will be able to cool the economy and tame inflation.
Rarely has the Federal Reserve been under such a microscope.
The countdown is on to the Fed decision.
The question this morning, how much will the Fed raise interest rates as it tries to bring 40-year high inflation under control, now running at 8.6% year over year? The markets are betting on a 3/4 percentage point hike, the biggest since 1994, and the third this year to slow an overheating economy. CNBC's Steve Leisman covers the Fed.
And the hope is that by raising interest rates, they'll slow the economy. The trouble is that it's a blunt tool. It affects all of the economy, whether there's a hot demand there or not.
The challenge, while inflation is hot, unemployment is near a 50-year low. But nearly half the country is paying $5 or more for a gallon of gas. Food, clothing, and rent prices are also soaring. President Biden under pressure in an election year, taking aim at Republicans.
The problem is, Republicans in Congress are doing everything they can to stop my plans to bring down costs on ordinary families.
But as the Fed hikes interest rates, Americans will pay more for credit cards, private student loans, new car loans, and mortgages. A new $400,000 mortgage on January 1st cost $1,745 a month. After 2 rate hikes this year, that payment is now $589 more and could go higher. In San Diego, Parker Wren wants to leave his rental and buy a home, but now mortgage rates are going up.
At these rates, I want to find something that I'm really excited about, that I feel like I'm getting a lot of value for the property.
As interest rates rise, experts advise paying off loans, conserving cash, but keep investing for retirement, even with the stock market in a steep slide.
You're going to look back 5, 10, 15 years from now and be really glad you bought in 2022. These are the times where you're going to earn those higher returns.
From Wall Street to Main Street, and another quick example here, the average American has $5,500 in credit card debt. They're paying almost 17% interest. You add 3/4 of a point to that, and you would extend the amount of time it takes you to pay it off by a month if you're making only the minimum monthly payments, and that would take you 16 years. Back to you.
All right, Tom Costello, thank you. Now, extreme weather is causing an alarming amount of damage to some of the nation's most prized outdoor spaces. This morning, the governor of Montana has declared a statewide disaster after Yellowstone National Park was forced to close due to flash flooding. An estimated 10,000 people were evacuated as strong currents washed out roads, bridges, even some homes. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer joins us now from Bozeman, Montana with the latest.
The floodwaters are just now starting to recede, but as you can see, not everywhere. There are still homes and cars that are submerged by those floodwaters. The devastation widespread, not just here, but also at Yellowstone National Park.
These are the steep hillsides giving way to the force of water.
Whoa.
And the massive boulders narrowly missing cars on the road.
Oh, it just moved.
Flood-swollen rivers even sweeping away buildings. This two-story bunkhouse carried nearly 5 miles downstream. Roads and bridges leading to Yellowstone National Park that weren't washed away have now been shut down indefinitely at the start of the peak summer season.
It's safe to say that it's going to be an extended period of time. The northern end will be closed.
Officials say some 10,000 visitors were evacuated from Yellowstone, even more from surrounding communities, some airlifted out of harm's way.
And it landed, and it was, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was so emotional because none of us were expecting it.
This is a house that used to be surrounded by a huge yard.
In the small town of Red Lodge, what's normally a quiet creek, now a raging torrent.
This summer was the first summer, not as intense with the COVID, no fires, we were getting great rain. This was going to be our season, and our creek turned into a river.
The historic floods, the result of an atmospheric river, a narrow corridor of moisture that drop relentless rain on Washington, Montana, and Wyoming, along with fast melting mountain snows, turning streams into life-threatening rapids.
It was frightening because in addition to all of this debris coming, you can hear the rocks in the creek. These are giant boulders just rolling down. It feels like you're on the Manhattan Bridge listening to the trains go by with you.
A region home to an iconic national treasure, now transformed by record floods.
The governor in the state of Montana has declared a statewide disaster. The good news here, the forecast does call for better weather, and in the next couple of days, these floodwaters should recede. Back to you.
All right, Miguel Almaguer, thank you so much. And now let's stay on this and get a check at your morning news now forecast, which means it's time for Michelle Grossman to join us again. Hey, Michelle.
Hey there, guys. And it seems like that we're going to see again today. It's so sad. Flooding in the northwest. We're looking at southwest fire danger. We're also looking at the chance for severe weather and dangerous daytime highs. We're looking at heat and humidity over 100 degrees, some spots feeling like 113. So taking a look at the snapshot for today, the severe weather, that's a big weather story today. The dangerous heat, that's another big one today. So severe storms in the upper Midwest, especially in Wisconsin. We're looking at winds gusting over 75 miles per hour. The chance of strong tornadoes there. Strong storms in the southeast, also record highs from the south central states, the southwest to the Midwest, down to the southeast and parts of the Carolinas, and hot and dry once again in the southwest. That's going to spark the chance for more fire danger. So dangerous heat today. You can see a ton of heat alerts, 95 million people impacted from the Midwest through the Tennessee Valley down through the Southwest into the state of Florida. We're looking at excessive heat warnings. That's where we're seeing the pink, so including Chicago, Cincinnati. It's been so hot there, and we're going to see another hot day today and also tomorrow. That persistent heat does continue. It's a big area of high pressure. It's a heat pump that's bringing this heat It's also bringing the humidity, and it's causing a lot of trouble coast to coast. So persistent heat, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 90s in Chicago, also Detroit, St. Louis, near 100 degrees. The problem is you factor in the humidity as well. It's going to feel like over 100 degrees in some spots. Atlanta today, 98 degrees. We're going to break some records as well. We've been breaking a ton of records. We're going to continue to do so over the next several days. Tomorrow, temperatures once again near 100 degrees. In Little Rock, also in Memphis, breaking records there. Temperatures in the 90s in Louisville, Nashville. Also, Knoxville, Augusta, Georgia, you're going to see a high temperature of 98 degrees. The record there is 100, so we certainly could get close, if not break it. So we're talking about severe weather, the heat and humidity, along with a cold front. So you have the fuel of the heat and humidity, and then you have a trigger, which is a cold front. That is sparking storms this morning. We're starting to see things quiet down just a bit, but the atmosphere is going to reset, and we're going to see some strong storms later on this afternoon. We're seeing some heavy downpours, too. So a lot going on with these storms. You need your safety plan in place. You need to stay alert, stay close to your phone where you get the alerts, or even a radio or TV. So zooming in a little closer here, we're going to see the state of Wisconsin. That's where we're expecting the strongest storms today. Enhanced risk, that's 3 out of 5 on the scale. Winds could gust over 75 miles per hour, damaging hail. You need to move your car into the garage if you can. We're going to see hail up to 2 inches or a larger tennis ball, even up to softball size. And we could see the chance of a few strong tornadoes. And guys, we're watching the chance for some flooding rains as well, because any of these storms could see some torrential downpours. Back to you.
All right, Michelle Grossman, thank you so much. Now to the latest on the spread of the monkeypox virus. Cases continue to rise in the U.S. and Europe, prompting the EU to order vaccines in an effort to avert a wider outbreak. NBC News correspondent Stephanie Goss joins us here in studio with the latest. Stephanie, we were just talking. It's got me worried, but good morning. It's good to see you.
You know, you should be aware.
Yes.
Don't be worried, but be aware. The World Health Organization is very concerned about what they call the unusual monkeypox spread, and they've now called an urgent meeting to determine if this virus is an international public health emergency.
Mounting concern this morning as monkeypox is on the move.
The virus is behaving unusually from how it used to behave in the past.
In the U.S., there are now more than 70 cases in at least 17 states, according to the CDC. And the virus, most commonly found in Africa, has been reported in 35 countries. Now the World Health Organization is planning a special session to determine if monkeypox should be declared an international public health emergency. That would be their highest warning level, and it currently only applies to COVID-19 and polio.
We're encouraging countries to do surveillance, contact tracing, and other public health measures.
In Chicago, where there are 7 confirmed cases, health officials are advising residents to make informed choices about gathering in spaces or participating in events where monkeypox could be spread. The CDC says of the U.S. cases, it's not clear how the people were exposed to monkeypox, but early data suggests that gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men make up a high number of cases, but notes any close contact is at risk. Monkeypox begins with flu-like symptoms and leads to lesions on the skin. It's spread primarily through direct contact with infectious sores, scabs, or body fluids, including intimate sexual contact.
We think that's happening because of the close contact people are having, especially after the pandemic. Things are opening up more. People are socializing more.
But it is not time to panic, say medical experts.
It's still rare around the world, and it has not really gone down to the child or pediatric population as of yet.
If the World Health Organization declares a public health emergency, that will trigger a coordinated response worldwide to help stop the spread. They're also looking into giving it a different name because of stigma and misunderstanding associated with the name monkeypox. So expect to hear that as well from them.
That does make sense, actually, because you did, especially when we first started hearing about it, you're kind of like, what's that? It sounds scary, sounds like something that you just can't even imagine.
Right, and also the association with Africa, and it's a virus. A virus can go anywhere, and it's proving that, and they don't want that association, and they don't want the association with an animal.
Yeah, or some type of stereotype, absolutely. Stephanie Goss, thank you so much. Great to
You're
have you with us. Let's now stay on this and bring in Dr. Anand Swami Nathan for more. He's an assistant professor of emergency medicine at St. Joseph's Hospital. Doctor, as always, it's great to have you with us. So as we heard, the World Health Organization may declare monkeypox a public health emergency of international concern. So tell us, how does that differ from the guidance that we just heard a couple weeks ago? Because it has changed a little bit, but does it change any of the precautions that we should be taking against the virus?
I don't think it changes a ton of the precautions, but I think it acknowledges the fact that this is an unusual outbreak. There are a number of cases, much more than we would expect. And it also really leads to international collaboration. It helps to encourage our sharing of resources, our ability to research, to track cases, to really formulate treatments, to share vaccines, to figure out where those vaccines need to go. This kind of an effort really does take a global work in order to stop this from becoming a larger issue. So I think it's important for the WHO to consider this. And I think it's important for us to understand this really leads to better international collaboration.
So, Doctor, I mean, we know that monkeypox doesn't spread the same way COVID does. We know it's not nearly as easily transmissible. But in terms of trying to head off a wider outbreak, are we repeating any of the same mistakes that we did with COVID that we made sort of in the beginning when there was confusion about masks, that type of thing? Is there anything we should be doing that you think we're not doing correctly?
I think on a larger scale, not the individual scale, we really need to be ramping up testing so that we can test people where we think it's a possibility that monkeypox is at play. Right now, we don't really have that potential. We really have to send those samples to specific labs, which means it can't be done quickly. It can't be done the way that we need to have it done. And I think we need to really understand the importance of testing in order to really keep this outbreak contained. And we learned that in COVID, but we're not really applying that lesson forward. So that's something that we really have to embrace. And then we really have to embrace good public health messaging to make sure that we're not stigmatizing any populations, which some of the language does seem to do that. We need to make sure that we are reaching out to at-risk groups, making sure that they understand what is the safe actions that we can use in order to stop this spread. But we really do need to have better public health messaging, which I think, again, we're falling a bit short on.
Absolutely. Now, I do actually want to turn now to COVID and ask you about some news we've got. The FDA Advisory Committee has recommended Moderna's 2-dose COVID vaccine for kids between the ages of 6 and 17. Walk us through what's next here. I mean, we know that's an age group with a pretty low vaccination rate, but what does it mean to potentially have this other type of vaccine available for parents?
I think it's good news. Anytime we can expand the vaccines that are applicable for certain age groups, I think it is a good thing to see. So this is good news. Really, though, it's the news coming, or what's going to be coming next, which is the application of Moderna and Pfizer vaccines in the under 5 age group. And that's the next thing that we're going to see. I think that we are going to see those approved. And that's going to be really important because it is tens of millions of kids who have not been eligible for vaccines while the rest of us have been. These vaccines are extremely safe. They're even safer in the pediatric population from the data that we have. They're extremely effective in preventing severe disease, but they're also effective in reducing the chances of any infection, which reduces the chances of long COVID. It reduces the chances of kids missing school, missing activities, spreading to others. I think that's what we really have to look forward to. And, when we've been talking all along, I've shared with the audience when my kids have been vaccinated. I don't have a kid under 5 to say that I'm going to get that kid vaccinated as soon as I can. But every professional in healthcare that I have spoken to who has kids in that age group has been extremely excited for the prospect of getting their kids vaccinated, getting them as protected as they can be. And I think that those are the messages we really have to inform people about: safe and effective, and get your vaccine as soon as you can.
Doctor, really quickly, before I let you go, I do want to get a medical perspective on this extreme heat we're seeing across the country. I mean, I know research shows that more frequent heat waves could be having this taxing effect on our bodies. It certainly feels that way when you're in the middle of a heat wave. Walk us through this, and is there anything people should be doing to protect themselves?
Well, on an individual, when there is that heat wave coming, the important things are to know where cooling stations are in your neighborhood, in your city, to make sure that your air conditioning is working. But on a larger scale, this really is about climate change and how that climate change affects our health. And it really does, when we see more of these heat surges, it affects chronic health conditions. It makes things like heat stroke obviously much more common. And so the long-term effects of this climate change on our health is really going to be impactful. And so we do have to be looking to how we can stem that. But on the individual basis, when we're talking about an individual heat wave, it really is about knowing how to get cool, where your cooling centers are to protect yourself.
Dr. Anand Swaminathan, as always, thank you for your time and for covering quite a bit with us this morning. We appreciate it. This morning in the Ukraine war, Russia has opened a humanitarian corridor to get civilians out of the eastern city of Sievierodonetsk, including those trapped inside a chemical plant. The city has been the focal point of Russian attacks in the Donbass, but Moscow is now urging fighters in that plant to lay down their arms to allow for civilian evacuations. NBC News foreign correspondent Molly Hunter joins us now from central Ukraine. Hey, Molly, good to see you. So This is the first attempt at a humanitarian corridor out of Sievierodonetsk, that city where all 3 bridges in and out of it have been bombed. Is Russia's plan moving ahead? What are the Ukrainians saying about it, and how will they do this?
Yeah. Hey, Savannah. Good morning. Good to be with you. A pretty clear reaction from the Ukrainian side is they do not believe this is in good faith. Russia has been absolutely attacking that city. As we know, has moved in. They control 70 to 80% of that city right now, relentlessly bombarding the civilians who are still inside there. The mayor estimates about 10,000 people are still inside there, including 500 or so in that chemical plant you mentioned. We spoke with a man, though, who evacuated from Sievierodonetsk, Savannah, here in Dnipro, and he said that is likely a low estimate. He thinks there are much more than 10,000 people. We also spoke with a woman named Irina Halub. She actually made it out. So even though, as you mentioned, those 3 bridges have now been bombed, those are the main entry and exit points to that city. Irina Halub made it out of that city just 3 days ago, and we asked her why she didn't leave earlier. Take a quick listen.
We decided from the very beginning that we should stay with our parents. I understood that my parents wouldn't leave grandma and we wouldn't leave parents. During the past days, we didn't even know that evacuation was still possible.
So it's not just that she stayed, and this is a very common thing we're hearing, Savannah. Dnipro is really the relative safety point that a lot of people are coming out of the Donbass to. It's not just that she wanted to stay with her parents, it's also that she hasn't had any cell coverage since the middle of May. She said she had no way of getting news, of contacting friends, or anything, of even knowing if there was a humanitarian corridor or evacuations. And she said she just didn't realize how bad it had gotten until she actually saw it herself.
Molly, thank you for bringing us that perspective, because I do think that's a lot of questions people have. Why stay? But in some cases, it just doesn't seem like an option. We're also following today's NATO defense ministers meeting, where it looks like countries will discuss sending more weapons to Ukraine. We know the Ukrainians have been asking for this, for more heavy and advanced arms. Is the West likely to give them that? What can we expect?
Yeah, and I'll keep this brief because this is just the start of a 2-day meeting, defense ministers in Brussels. We did just hear from NATO chief, and he said, Jens Stoltenberg, he said NATO is preparing a plan to convert the Ukrainian army from post-Soviet weapons to alliance weapons. That sounds promising if you are sitting in Kyiv right now, because the one thing they have been asking is for more modern, more advanced, longer-range artillery that would actually allow them to compete with Russia. Apparently, they are announcing at least their first tranche, their first package of military aid tonight. So we should know more. There is major frustration in Kyiv, though, and we hear that from President Zelensky almost every single day. The Ukrainian defense minister, Savannah, today said that really they have only gotten 10% of the amount of weapons they have asked the West for.
All right, Molly Hunter, thank you so much. We appreciate your reporting, and please stay safe. We'll talk to you soon. More international headlines now, starting in the UK, where deportations to Rwanda were stalled as the European court stepped in. Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv with that and more. Hey, Raf, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, that's right. A flight carrying asylum seekers from Britain to Rwanda was called off at the last minute because of that court judgment. Boris Johnson's government is trying to push through a controversial policy of sending asylum seekers to the African nation to deter people making a risky crossing of the English Channel. A judge halted this flight, but the UK says it will try again. A Cambodian court has handed down prison sentences to around 60 opposition figures, including a prominent Cambodian-American lawyer. Thierry Sang arrived in court dressed like the Statue of Liberty as a gesture of protest. She was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The U.S. says it's deeply troubled by the unjust verdicts. And finally, the last voyage of a Hong Kong icon. The Jumbo floating restaurant has been a tourist attraction for decades, but it's run into troubled financial waters, and this week was dragged away by tugboat. Its new location has not been disclosed, but we know it's being taken overseas. So, Savannah, if you suddenly see a massive floating Chinese restaurant in Lower Manhattan, you'll know what's up.
That'd be quite the trip for that giant floating restaurant. But yes, Rob, thanks for the heads up.
For 6 weeks, the high-profile defamation trial between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp was hard to ignore. Every accusation aired for the world to see, with reaction on social media getting billions of views.
Yeah, and after the verdict, which was largely in favor of Depp, Heard called it a setback for other women who want to speak up. Now, in an NBC News exclusive, she tells today's Savannah Guthrie that she fears other potential defamation lawsuits from her ex-husband as she looks to move forward.
There's a text message where Johnny promises total global humiliation for you. Do you feel like that came true?
I know he promised it. I testified to this. I'm not a good victim, I get it. I'm not a likable victim. I'm not a perfect victim. But when I testified, I asked the jury to just see me as human and hear his own words, which is a promise to do this. It feels as though he has.
Amber Heard reflecting on the ripple effects of her tumultuous trial with Johnny Depp. Having been found liable, are you nervous as we are here today about what you can say now?
Of course. I took for granted what I assumed was my right to speak.
Do you feel like you could be sued again by him for defamation?
I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter what I say or how I say it, every step that I take will present another opportunity for this sort of silencing, which is what I guess a defamation lawsuit is meant to do. It's meant to take your voice.
But Amber is still speaking just days after a jury stunned many and found the actress defamed Depp in an op-ed where she said she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. The piece, which never mentioned Depp by name, was published 2 years after the couple announced they had settled their divorce. Life had seemingly moved on, and you decide to write an op-ed. Why did you do that?
Because the op-ed wasn't about my relationship with Johnny.
But it alluded to him. It was unmistakable.
You know, what the op-ed was about was, me loaning my voice to a bigger cultural conversation that we were having at the time.
Did you worry, gosh, I'd love to be a person weighing in on these cultural issues, but that's going to stir this all up again?
I obviously knew it was important for me not to make it about him or to do anything like defame him. I had lawyers, teams of lawyers, review all the drafts of this.
When you wrote this op-ed, it was the height of Me Too. Legions of powerful men being canceled, losing their jobs. Did you want that to happen to Johnny Depp?
Of course not. Of course not. It wasn't about him.
But the op-ed and the abuse alleged was at the heart of the 6-week trial.
Just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face. Hit me right in it felt like my eye.
Heard testified that the final straw came after a violent fight in May 2016. 6 days later, she filed for a restraining order, cameras capturing her as she left the courthouse. But Depp's lawyers convinced the jury Heard was lying about the abuse. Police who responded to the 2016 incident testified during the trial that they didn't see any injuries and that Heard declined to file charges.
This was a hoax, according to his team. Why didn't I cooperate with the police? As I've testified before, and I will stand by until my dying day, I didn't want to cooperate with them. I didn't want this to be out. I didn't want this to be known. I didn't want to cooperate with them because I didn't want this to be, I didn't want to get him in trouble. If it was a hoax, I could have done that.
But 5 days later, you went to court and it came out.
5 days later, I made the decision to stand up for myself and protect myself. You can't get a restraining order in private, which of course I didn't understand the night when the cops were called.
An employee of TMZ testified at court and said that TMZ was tipped off about when you were going to be going to the courthouse and on what side of your face bruises would be apparent. Did you tip off TMZ?
I was going to say, he certainly didn't get tipped off by me or anyone in my...
Did anyone tip off TMZ?
Why would they? No.
You asked no one to do that?
As I testified to before, had nothing to do with me.
There are different incidents that you testified to, and the Depp legal team would put up pictures of you publicly right after that or in the days following and saying that why are there no bruises?
Again, it's that thing. If you have bruising, if you have injuries, it's fake. If you don't have any, then you weren't injured.
You had promised to donate the $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity. It was revealed at trial that you haven't done so yet. However, they played a tape where you stayed on the air that you have donated it. Do you think that raised questions as to your credibility with the jury?
I made a pledge, and that pledge is made over time by its nature.
When you say I donated, you know that everybody thinks that you've donated it, not that you've pledged it. So for the jurors sitting there, do you think they felt like that was you getting caught in a lie?
I don't know, because I feel like so much of the trial was meant to cast aspersions on who I am as a human, my credibility, to call me a liar in every way you can. And
that was the trial. It was a credibility contest.
And
that was it.
This is another one of the examples where if you pull back and you think about it, I shouldn't have to have donated it in an effort to be believed. I shouldn't have had to earmark the entirety of that in order to have
You shouldn't have, but once you said you did.
Right, which is where it was intended to go.
Heard says she still plans to honor that pledge. How do you see your future now?
I get to be a mom, like, full time, where I'm not having to juggle calls with lawyers.
One day you may want to tell your daughter about this or have to tell your daughter about everything that you've gone through. What would you want to say?
I think no matter what, it will mean something. I did the right thing. I did everything I could to stand up for myself and the truth.
Heard and Depp's volatile relationship lasted just 4 years. Depp confirming his engagement to me on Today in 2014.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very. She's a wonderful girl. She's sharp as a tack, wonderful, Southern belle, and sweet as can be, and very good for me,
On the first day of the trial, you issued a statement, and part of the statement said, I still have love for Johnny.
Yes.
Is that still true?
Yes.
After everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love him. I loved him with all my heart. And I tried the best I could to make a deeply broken relationship work. And I couldn't. I have no bad feelings or ill will towards him at all. I know that might be hard to understand, or it might be really easy to understand. If you've just ever loved anyone, it should be easy.
Depp's attorneys have said that they don't see the verdict in this case as a setback to victims of domestic violence coming forward. Heard's attorneys say they do plan to appeal this summer.
If you want to watch more of that interview with Amber Heard, you can stream part of a special edition of Dateline this Thursday on Peacock, ahead of that whole special airing Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
We're back with a new debate involving Google, its artificial intelligence chatbot, and one of its engineers.
Yeah, let's lay this out. Engineer Blake Lemoine says a chatbot project he was working on called Lambda can express thoughts and feelings equivalent to that of a child. And now he wants the company to get consent from the computer program before running experiments on it. Google placed Lemoine on leave for violating its confidentiality policy after he published transcripts of conversations between himself and the chatbot.
The company also released a statement saying, quote, our team, including ethicists and technologists, has reviewed Blake's concerns and per our AI principles and have informed him that the evidence does not support his claims. He was told that there was no evidence that Lambda was sentient and lots of evidence against it.
Let's bring in Natasha Tiku, tech culture reporter for The Washington Post. Natasha, Okay, this one is admittedly a little over my head. I can't even understand the engineer's complaints that a chatbot could need consent in the way that you would ask a child before running an experiment on it. So walk us through this. How does this work? And does the AI community believe these technologies are really capable of reaching that?
Yes. I mean, yes, these are extremely important questions. I'm so glad you're asking them. I should say that every expert that I interviewed for the story, and as you said, Google itself, it adamantly says that it's actually a chatbot generator, is not sentient, and that Blake is misunderstanding the way that the technology works. These are called, the way the deep learning and large language models works is you feed in a massive corpus of data from the internet. So it's really just pattern recognition. It understands, by looking at all of this data, which word might come next in a sequence, which word might come next in a sentence. And if you feed it on Wikipedia and Reddit and, other internet dialogue, it understands, it quote unquote, learns how to put sentences together that sound like they have meaning. But all of the experts say that he is mistaken and not understanding the technology properly. However, his claim is coming in the middle of a very interesting moment in the AI community where some, top executives at companies are saying that this technology is potentially close to achieving consciousness. Now, I should say also these terms are very ill-defined. Like you said, it's almost like some of the experts are as under the thrall of sci-fi as the rest of us.
Let's talk about this engineer that he wants Google to get consent from that AI before using it in experiments. Explain his reasoning for this and how this story is really sparking, as you've been talking about, this debate about ethics in tech.
Yeah, so Blake is also a mystic Christian priest. He's studied the occult, and he emphasized to me that, he is a computer scientist and he studied to be a cognitive scientist. And he said, his claim, his belief that Lambda is sentient stems from his, his training as a priest and his religious beliefs more so than his experience as a cognitive scientist or computer scientist, because these ideas they haven't been well thought out. It's not as though there's a test for this sort of thing. And so, to Blake's mind, if something tells it that it has a soul and that it's a person and it requires consent, then we ought to believe it. I think it has really sparked a larger debate about the dangers of the way that the AI hype in the industry has gone, and the kind of flippant way that executives have teased the idea of consciousness and the idea that these models can understand us and learn.
Some of that was really scary and some of that was really confusing, but thank you, Natasha
Fascinating,
Tiku. Fascinating. I mean, really it is, and we're all just kind of trying to learn. So thanks for helping us explain it.
Thanks for having me.
We're celebrating Pride with a look at how rapidly the LGBTQ community is growing. Now, a Gallup poll this year found just over 7% of all American adults now identify as LGBTQ. That's double what we saw just a decade earlier. That alone is a significant headline, but what's really striking is when you break it down by generation and see just how much that growth is driven by young adults.
They're called Gen Z, but many young adults proudly embrace 5 other letters, LGBTQ.
I'm a lesbian.
I'm gay.
I'm bisexual.
I'm transgender. I'm queer.
A recent Gallup poll found that among Gen Z adults, those between the ages of 18 and 25, about 21% identify as LGBTQ. 21%. That's 1 in 5.
When you heard that number, what was your reaction?
I really wasn't surprised. Our generation isn't really scared to actually say that we're part of the community and we're actually proud of who we are.
With the help of Campus Pride, a national group supporting LGBTQ college students, we gathered this group of Gen Zers: Eddie, Nick, Marcus, Sierra, and Mary. They go to the University of Central Florida and are part of the first generation to totally grow up in a digital world.
Social media, how important was that to you when you were younger?
Oh, social media, it was like everything to me because it really helped me form a sense of myself.
I remember writing in my diary as a kid that I had a crush on a boy just over and over and over, just to pray that eventually I'll convince myself that I do. And I got introduced to these online communities, and I finally saw, oh, wait, I'm not a freak. There are people out there who feel the same way that I do. And that realization saved my life.
And I don't want to add more stress to your day, but I love you.
They could also see themselves reflected in traditional media, movies, and TV shows.
Growing up and seeing even the smallest bits of representation in like LGBTQ plus characters and everything of that sort is just made me feel, like not alone. And it made me feel like kind of understood.
And perhaps no endorsement had a greater impact than the one delivered by the Supreme Court in 2015.
Now to that historic Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage across the land.
All of it creates a sense of belonging that mental health experts say is vital.
The messaging that Gen Zers have is like it's okay to be who you are and to love who you love and to talk about that and celebrate that.
A majority of LGBTQ Gen Zers say they're bisexual, and among those 5 letters, a growing number of young people identify as queer, which is perhaps most simply defined as not straight.
I present as a boy, but I love pink or I love like feminine things, but at the same time I could also like masculine things, and I don't need to be in that set like binary.
For your generation, it's easier to come out than, say, my generation, but it's not easy, is it?
No, definitely not.
For me, coming out was always sort of like bouncing off a brick wall and bouncing off the brick wall and bouncing until eventually I can make a dent.
I feel like there's this huge disconnect. Oh, being queer is like a trend, but these are people's identities. These are people really putting themselves on the line and putting themselves in a place where they could be in danger.
All of them grew up in more conservative communities in Florida. It's a state that's making headlines this year for passing legislation that prohibits classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity for many younger students.
We're going to make sure that parents are able to send their kid to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected into their school curriculum.
What critics call the Don't Say Gay law.
Now you're just trying to control and minimize us and just kind of shove us back even more, but I think it only just kind of makes us push back harder.
So when you look at the future, do you have optimism?
Yes, definitely.
We have always been here, and now we are saying we're here. We are letting the world know that we accept ourselves, we love ourselves, and we're not going to back down.
One major reason it's easier for younger people to come out, society is much more accepting of LGBTQ people. 70% of Americans now approve of same-sex marriage. That's an all-time high. And here's a really important stat about acceptance. LGBTQ youth have if they have at least one accepting adult in their lives, just one, they were 40% less likely to report a suicide attempt. Now, we're going to take a closer look at the issues facing the LGBTQ community in the Pride and Backlash special that is airing tomorrow, Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on NBC News Now. And of course, if you or anyone you know is struggling, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255, or you can text the word TALK to 741-741. Internet Explorer is done exploring. After 27 years of service, Microsoft will no longer support the browser starting today. The tech giant last year announced it was putting an end to Internet Explorer, pushing users to its Edge browser, which debuted back in 2015. Microsoft says Edge offers a faster and more secure browsing experience. The company first released IE, Internet Explorer, back in 1995 during the early days of the Internet. During its peak in the early 2000s, Explorer's market share was more than 90%. Chrome and Safari are the most popular browsers today. We still have the little E icon on here on our computer. There's a computer under here. You can't see it. And I just clicked on it, and it does say, it says it retired today. I like that. Internet Explorer is retired.
It does?
It said that. Yeah, it disappeared here, but it's happy retirement.
Yeah, good for you. You deserve it. You carry this all since the 90s. All right. Tennis superstar Serena Williams is making her long-awaited comeback at Wimbledon later this month. Williams has been on the sidelines for nearly a year after getting injured at last year's Wimbledon.
Organizers yesterday granted the 7-time champion a wild card for the singles event. Williams reacted to the decision with a post on Instagram saying, "It's a date, 2022, see you there, let's go." For more on this, we are now joined by Brad Gilbert. He's a former tennis player and coach and an analyst for ESPN. Brad, always good to have you with us. So great news for Serena Williams. How important is it for the game of tennis to have her, the GOAT, back on the court?
Firstly, good morning. 90% for Microsoft sounds like Serena Williams' winning percentage.
There you go.
It's great to have Serena back. It's been 12 months since she played at Wimbledon last year, got hurt. Now 127 other women are going to be extremely worried about the draw when it comes out next Thursday, potentially seeing her unseeded and in a part of the draw. But I think it's a great move for her that next week at Eastbourne, she's going to play doubles with Ons Jabeur to kind of get her, feet and things right on the grass 1 week, some practice. And I think everything will kind of depend on where she falls in the draw, obviously being unseeded. But I'm sure there's going to be some nervous women knowing where she's going to be in the draw now.
I think you're right, especially because of her record at Wimbledon. She's won it 7 times, most recently in 2016. Do you think she has a chance of grabbing her 8th victory this time around after that injury? What's her shot?
I would say the shot depends upon the draw. I mean, literally, she could play the #1 seed first round. So I think more than anything, if she gets a decent draw, it's getting a couple of wins, getting some confidence, giving herself the opportunity to get to the second week. It's not about winning it at first. It's about getting started. And I do think it's a great start for her playing doubles, get a couple of matches. And most importantly, obviously, it's going to be how her body reacts when you haven't played matches in a year, how she's going to feel the day after if she gets a win and the whole preparation. And also remember, her coach of the last 10 years, Patrick Moragadou, is no longer with her as he is now coaching Simona Halep. So that's a different situation for her as well.
Real quick, we want to ask you, athletes from Russia and Belarus, they're now going to be allowed to compete in this year's U.S. Open under a neutral flag, different from what Wimbledon said. Your reaction to this?
I think it's good news. It's like what the Olympics are doing, that if an athlete wins there's no national anthem, you're not representing a country. It's an individual sport. Basically, you're an independent contractor. So I'm glad that they were able to make that happen for the Open. Still a little bummed that, it didn't happen for Wimbledon, but that's a private club. It's not a federation. They were able to make that rule. But I'm glad to see that they're able to play at the Open this year.
All right, Brad Gilbert, some fascinating stuff. Lots of people are going to be watching, especially that match you just mentioned. That'll kind of be a preview of Serena. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Have a nice
We will have a nice day. All right, a nationwide search is underway this morning for a woman known as Miss Kelly. Back in the 60s, Miss Kelly aspired to be an astronaut, so she wrote to NASA about her dreams.
But get this, NASA rejected her simply because she was a woman. Now one group wants to honor her.
NBC News senior national correspondent Carrie Sanders joins us now with more on the efforts to find her after nearly 60 years. Hey, Carrie.
Good morning, guys. To understand this mystery, we need to go back to when television was black and white and astronauts, male astronauts, drove cool cars like this. But then in 1962, a young woman named Miss Kelly said that she wanted to become an astronaut. But as you'll see, the times were oh so different.
In this letter dated February 26, 1962, NASA responds to a young woman's request to become an astronaut, writing, "Your offer to go on a space mission is commendable, and we are very grateful. This is to advise that we have no existing program concerning women astronauts, nor do we contemplate any such plan." The letter suggests that woman, known only as Miss Kelly, was a student at the University of Connecticut.
The world's first woman astronaut.
At the time, the Soviet space program had already chosen a female cosmonaut. June 16, 1963, exactly 59 years ago tomorrow, Russian Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman in space. It could have been Miss Kelly or other American women who dreamed of space travel, but the times then were so different. Headlines like 3 blondes ask equality in space reflect just how much had to be overcome.
I became the first female commander on the space station.
Former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson is a pioneer, one of 75 women who've been to space, compared to more than 530 men. Whitson will return to space next year as a commander on Axiom's AX-2.
What is it that we want to know?
Well, we want to find out if Miss Kelly actually found some dream and worked for it and made it happen for herself. I hope she did.
NASA didn't officially hire female astronauts until 1978, 16 years after that rejection letter to Miss Kelly.
Women are expected to play a major role in this country's future flights beyond Earth.
Today, organizations like Space Kids Global encourage girls to consider careers in aerospace. The group is now leading the search for Miss Kelly to pay tribute to that one small step in the giant leap for women in space.
So it is now up to amateur sleuths who are in the driver's seat to find Miss Kelly. We know her name. We know she went to the University of Connecticut. And if we do a little math, she probably would be in her late 70s, early 80s. Meantime, we spoke to Pam Milroy, who is number 2 at NASA, who says, yes, those were different times. Updating for today, 30% of the astronaut corps or the NASA corps are women. And looking forward in 2025, Artemis 3 will launch, if they can keep to that schedule, and a woman will land on the moon. So it will be one giant leap for womankind. Guys?
So cool, Carrie.
So cool. Love
Thank you
it.
so
What an
much.
amazing story. Thank you.
That does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.